in our own way, we're gonna try and set goals for these two personas. So the first one is a male. What do you think we should call him? I did not come up with a name, sadly.
John.
John?
Yeah.
Okay, let's call him John. And what John does, he's self-employed. He has a stall where he sells clothes. Also, he dropped out of university because he did not have enough money to pay to finish his studies. He has a younger sibling who's in high school who depends on him. He also has a bicycle. He's single. What he loves doing most is making new connections with his customers, and he's also a Christian. And lastly, his most prized possessions are his bicycle and his shop. Okay, so how old do you think John is? How old should he be?
Mid-20s?
Yeah, mid-20s.
Yeah.
So like
dropped out of uni.
So
okay,
26, 27, 26.
You can give a 25.
Yeah.
25 is good, yeah.
Okay, 25. Alright, that's our first persona. So the second persona is a female. What name do you think we should give her?
It's called a Sophie.
Sophie. Alright, so we'll call her Sophie. So Sophie works in the corporate field. She is she's at an entry-level job, so she just started out. She loves partying. She's actively dating. She also suffers from obesity because of that she's been in and out of hospital because of different lifestyle diseases. So how old do you think Sophie should be? Maybe we should make her a bit older.
Yeah.
We can make her, because our first persona is 25. Maybe we can put her in like late 20s.
Yeah.
So like at 29.
29.
Yeah, 29. Alright, so we have our two personas, people, and we are going to attempt to make smart goals for them or goals for them, like we have said we usually do. So like, just to give you like a practical example of how it looks like, because we could talk a lot, but in essence we need to have an action plan. So by doing this example, it will help you guys to be able to set your own goals for your life. Alright, so I guess we can start with John, right? So what, like if you were John, what kind of goals would you be looking to have? Or how would you, like you're like, this year, this is my year, I want to be intentional, this is not the same, I want to set goals and I want to achieve them and I want to hit those goals, and that's you. That's who, you know, we are John, all of us are John. So yeah, and we want to set these goals and be intentional about them. So what kind of goals are we looking to set as John? Yeah. I think work-wise, with him and his business, maybe we could start there. What kind of goals do you think would make sense in that area?
I think sales-wise, probably set us some, either an amount, it could be money, or it could be like the number of items. It could be like, oh, I want to sell, I don't know, how much is a good, how big is his stall? It's just like a small...
Yeah, just a small stall where he sells clothes, nothing big. Just
nothing too much.
Yeah.
So I think maybe like 20 to 40 pieces of clothing a month or something like that. I like to be very ambitious.
Yes, we want to be very specific here.
Yeah.
So we say, would you say like 20 to 30 pieces, or would you like be very specific to a number?
Okay, so I can't imagine. Okay, I'm trying to think like how, like where is this stall? Is it a busy area? There's so much you have to consider.
Okay. Yeah,
how much
we could place him somewhere. I don't know which areas have. Let's say his stall is in which places sell clothes actually. I'm trying to wonder which. And all the places I'm thinking. Okay, we could just put it like in. No. I feel like a mall is expensive, so maybe not a mall. So let's say his shop is placed in Adams. Yeah, Adams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just a a building which has different kinds, like an M-Pesa shop next there. So he's next to an M-Pesa shop, Adams there, Ngong Road. So now he's selling clothes over there. Mostly the second-hand clothes, but of the newer type.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So with that in mind.
All right. With that in mind, I'd definitely say like 20 pieces a month is fairly ambitious for him.
Okay, 20 pieces a month. So John says, okay, I want to sell 20 pieces a month. All right.
Yeah, money.
Yeah, see, I mean, how much does he price the clothes?
Yeah.
That's
the issue.
yeah. So I think
said like 20.
Yeah. I think that would make sense depending on. So I think for him, he'd want to know how much money he wants to make at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So as John, you have to know, like, okay, by the end of this year, I want to make this amount of profit.
Yeah.
So if I want to make this amount of profit, how many clothes should I sell?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Depending on the price. So let's say if I'm selling mostly dresses and they go for around maybe 1,000 shillings. So how many dresses or how many pieces will I have to sell so that I get to, maybe my goal is at the end of the year I want to have a profit of 250,000.
Yeah.
So as John, I want to have a profit of 250,000. So how will I ensure that by the end of the year I get 250,000? I think the question is how many clothes?
Well,
yes.
Okay, see, there's certain seasons, let's say Christmas, most people are buying a lot of clothes. So there's like seasons, so you have to also consider that. So,
there's actually a lot, guys.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I feel like, well, I actually didn't even see it that way. That there's the seasons part, that every season. So would it be realistic? Okay, so you could say at the end of the year I want to make 250,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so
maybe we could take it like quarters and say,
or monthly even.
Yeah, monthly. And say like, okay, January, people, have just come from December, maybe they're not buying too many clothes. Yeah, so you could lower the amount a bit, and then like, February, March maybe still low, and then take it up a bit. Yeah, and then, just flow through the seasons.
So that by the end of the year you've made that profit of 250,000.
Yeah,
I feel that's good enough. Yeah, I feel like with everything there will definitely be a lot you need to consider.
Yes.
Yeah, especially even with that small area. Okay, so what else? We have talked about his work area. So he says I want to make 250, and we'll, depending on the season, set goals on what is most likely. I think you can also look at his past sales.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And see to be able to make more
projections.
more realistic goals
Exactly.
as to like, because maybe if he sells 50 pieces and he usually sells like 10 pieces a month, I don't know if that's realistic. It's ambitious. I don't know if it's realistic. So he also has to be a bit realistic. John has to be a bit realistic about the number of like the goal he's setting. So I think that's work-wise. Okay, so I'm just gonna do what I usually do. So I'm just going through every category in life. And that's work-wise. There is fitness-wise, I guess, maybe. He said he owns a bicycle.
Oh.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
that's interesting.
that could allude to at least he has some conscious, or maybe he just likes riding a bicycle. You never know.
But you also have to consider, selling shops at this, selling clothes at the shop. You'll probably set it for a lot of times. So maybe just like consider how much activity you do in a day, and then grow from there. Is he trying to maintain, lose, gain, whatever he's trying to do? Then you have to think about that as well. So if it's just generally keeping fit, I think definitely the bicycle will help. Also maybe just take walks, because I don't think his stall is too busy as far as we put it. So maybe just take like walks around the stall or something inside, just to kind of get your blood flowing, so you're not seated the whole time,
Okay, so maybe he wants to get more fit, so the bicycle is doing him good. He's not overweight. So we could include now the walks, occasional walks. if he's in a position to walk, especially when the shop.
Yeah.
That could allude to at least he has some conscious, or maybe he just likes riding a bicycle. You never know.
Yeah, but you also have to consider, selling shops at this, selling clothes at the shop. You'll probably sit in for a lot of time. So maybe just consider how much activity you do in a day, and then grow from there. Is he trying to maintain, lose, gain, whatever he's trying to do? Then you have to think about that as well. So if it's just generally keeping fit, I think definitely the bicycle will help. Also maybe just take walks, because I don't think his stall is too busy as far as we've put it. So maybe just take walks around the stall or something inside, just to kind of get your blood flowing, so you're not sitting the whole time,
Okay, so maybe he wants to get more fit, so the bicycle is doing him good. He's not overweight, so we could include now the walks, occasional walks. If he's in a position to walk, especially when the shop is not too busy, he can take walks. That's, I think, in the exercise also have to look at what he's eating. I don't know, is it possible for someone to, especially because a lot of people say eating healthy is expensive.
I mean, actually no, because the food that Kenyans eat on the regular is very healthy. The ones, actually the food that we try to buy a lot, like pizza, KFC, that's more expensive, and it's actually less healthy. Because I think it's just an influence of Western media, and they want to make it seem like you have to join this diet and take this protein powder and do all of these different things, when actually the diets that we follow as Kenyans, the way we eat all these different foods, is actually not that bad.
So he'll continue eating Kenyan food.
Period.
Okay, so we've looked at his work, we've looked at fitness. I think also fitness is, apart from exercise and what you eat, there's also a bit of the mental bit. And we did mention he's a bit of a workaholic. So as a workaholic, what kind of goal would you be looking to probably set to help you navigate that?
You can add more free time to your schedule, so that can enable you to reboot and refresh your mind, because he's a workaholic, so he'll want to do everything in order to hit the goal. But we must have times for us to refresh and reboot. So that will be a key factor for him. Maybe take a break of 1 week per 2 months or something to just restructure.
The problem is, what if you do not have
someone to fit in?
No, the opportunity to take that break.
In terms of workplace, or
in terms of money. You remember there's someone who depends on him. He has a younger sibling.
So I think
that's interesting.
That's true. I think instead of saying this is my 1 week, actually the best place for him, since he's working at a store, once you finish your shift, that's that. Don't now go into trying to figure out this and figure out, people try to do work outside of work. So I think just being strict with, okay, once my shift is done, or maybe I'll take 2 days in a week to maybe plan for the next shift and all of that stuff. But most of the time, once my shift is done, I'm doing me, I'm looking to be me. So I think that's what I'd suggest for him.
Okay, so we set working hours and don't work outside of work. That gives you opportunity to have some me time. Probably if you need to do some kind of meditating, journaling, whatever will help you improve your mental health in those areas. Because I think stuff like that, if you're struggling with having some kind of concentration, journaling helps. I journal, and meditating, depending on if you're a Christian, probably taking time to meditate on God's word and thinking about it. That also a bit helps in the mental health area. So we also have socially, and obviously as a workaholic, and him being single tells you literally doesn't have a social life. So this year he's like, I want to really work on my social life. So what specific goals can I set towards that? Yeah.
I remember you said he likes to network.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so he can use
Customers.
with customers. Yeah. And I think, you know, as a business owner, there is more to a person than the sales. So he can work, not being so serious all the time. You know, go beyond that customer line if the situation deems so. So I think he can extend the customer base to, you know, a friend base and increase his social life. Yeah, that's what I would put for him. Because if he's a workaholic and all he does is focus on his business, the immediate people to socialize with are his customers.
I agree that if he could also try to transfer that to making friends.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. And try and make now friends and network with friends. Yeah. All right. I don't know, what else do you think we can add for John? I think because we've looked at his business and his work, we've looked at his social life, we've looked at, we did mention he's a Christian.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
You mentioned the meditation part.
Yeah. That could help in maybe also growing in his faith, I guess. He seems he's one.
I think another thing would be being very strict on Sundays or rest day. So not
baby, that's a good.
Get into Sunday.
Yeah. That would be a good one, especially because the fact he said he's a workaholic and practically work. So I guess if he strictly set Sunday as a rest day, that would help him. That will definitely help him. I think we've helped John. Yeah. I think we have.
So good luck, John.
Good luck wherever you are. All right. So we have helped John, and now we are on to Sophie. So we said Sophie is working in the corporate field. She's 29. She is actively dating, loves to party. She also suffers from obesity, and as a result, she's in and out of hospital. So she's like, okay, this year I want to do things a bit differently. I'm going into a new decade of life, 30s, and I want to do things a bit differently. So her resolutions this year are she wants to be able to settle down with someone. She wants to boost her self-confidence or work on her self-confidence. She wants to lose weight. She wants to find her sense of spirituality, and she wants to climb up the ladder. So those are very broad resolutions. So maybe we can help her set more specific goals, so that at the end of the year, they're not just resolutions she was making, this is for the sake, but goals, intentional goals that she made that will help her achieve that at the end of the year. So we could start the first one, which is to settle down with someone.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think personally she should first look into who she's dating and be more intentional, kind of narrow down on the guys that she's dating, and then I'd say maybe create a list of what she wants in a man, and narrow it down using that list. So I think that would be pretty much a good plan, right?
Yeah.
To narrow down how she's going to settle down.
Yeah.
And I also think after creating the list to be more specific, she can also get to know the guys better, through dates and hangouts. And in that way, you'll be able to know this is my type, this is not my type. Yeah. So the list will help.
Yeah, it's really because she's actively dating. It would make more sense for her to narrow down to a few potentials, and with the list she'll be able to tell, okay, who closely fits with my list or with what I'm looking for in a partner, a lifetime partner. All right, so I think we've sorted her there. We could go to the next one, which is lose weight. Yeah, so she wants to lose weight. I remember I used to have that goal at some point for like a couple of years. Well, not goal, resolution.
Just copy paste that.
Yeah, exactly. So for the people who set New Year's resolution on losing weight, like Sophie and the many others. How can we be helped?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because you mentioned she's in and out of hospital, it's a health issue, so she needs an expert in that area, maybe a doctor or a nutritionist to be the first step. So once she gets that, maybe she'll be put on a time plan or something that can help her achieve that. And we all start from somewhere. So a doctor or someone to guide her on that path is the first thing.
For sure.
Oh.
I was gonna say, I also think one thing she needs to consider is making it a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right. So she should also consider like seasonal, how her season changes. You know, kind of like John. Just looking into maybe the Christmas season where most people are eating kind of, you know, what's cooked, you know, you're kind of chilling with your family, eating whatever. So in those seasons, maybe she shouldn't expect too much of herself. She should be a bit more lenient. But maybe going into the new year, now after December and all that, now she can be more strict and say, okay, this stuff I added in this time, so I won't. So it's kind of creating more sort of a lifestyle change for her, obviously with the advice of the nutritionist.
Yeah, and I think a big thing for me that helped was removing the diet mentality. Yeah, that helped a big thing for myself. Like, if your aim is to lose weight or get fit, I'd say do not think of diets. Think of lifestyle decisions that you can make. Because you'll say, okay, I will not eat junk food till I am this amount of kgs. Then you get there, then you start eating the junk food again, and that's how you gain back the weight. So diets definitely lead to weight gain. So we definitely need to improve. Think of lifestyle choices that you can make to enable you to become fitter or to lose the weight permanently. Yeah. So I feel that's good enough to help Sophie out. What she also wanted to do was find her sense of spirituality. Yeah, because she's a bit uncertain about religion and all. Yeah.
I guess I can take that one. I'd say seek and you will find, you know. So I think in that case, for her, maybe trial and error type of thing. So if she is looking into Christianity, obviously spending more time in God's Word, spending more time around godly people, putting yourself in that environment to know more about who God is, right? So sort of seeking God's face in that manner. In other religions, I'm sure it's probably a similar idea. So just that seeking you will find mentality. So just being more intentional about it.
And also there's the aspect of finding a spiritual mentor. Could be a spiritual mother, father. Yes, someone who has been on that journey and can help you through it, finding what works for you. And I feel that's good enough. And another resolution she had was to increase her self-confidence or boost her self-confidence. How can we make that more specific?
Well, I think for starters, we all know the 5 love languages, right? Words of affirmation, quality time and all that. So I think she can spend more time in what her love language is, or the best to. So maybe if it's quality time, she can spend more time with herself, saying, she's actively dating and all that. So she can find some me time, and if it's me time, no other people, I'll do what I love. It's going out with skiing or bowling. So having that me time, and also if the second one is words of affirmation, she should even have stickers maybe on the fridge or something. So every time she wakes up and sees, you're beautiful, you're good in what you do, it will boost her definitely. Yeah, because it's something that's in her.
Okay. You did say 5 love languages. For those who might not know what the 5 love languages are, what are the 5 love languages?
It was a man named Gary actually formed this love language. He generalized all of us that how we respond to love is categorized into these five areas. There's quality time, there's physical touch, there's words of affirmation, there's gifting, something like that. The fifth one, do I remember? I think those are the things I remember for now. So we all are categorized into one or two of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's, let me see if I got that one. Words of affirmation.
Yes.
There is gifting, like gifts. There's quality time. There's physical touch. What is the other one? Even I don't. Even I can't remember the fifth one. But you know there are five. Yeah, there are five.
Oh, yeah. Service.
Yeah, acts of service.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
that was the one.
Yes,
Yes. So if you want to find out more, I think there's a book.
Yes,
there's a book,
yeah.
and you could read on that and find out what your love language is.
Yeah.
I think it's very important.
Very
Important. And I think once Sophie does know her love language, it will help her to love herself more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and her final resolution for the year was to climb up the ladder. So how can you be more specific on that?
Yeah, I think with that she just needs to be very intentional about where she's going. Like, let's say in her workplace she wants to be a sales manager by this point in time, then I think she needs to now look into what a sales manager entails, most like the job description, talk to the people who kind of are there at that moment, see what, gain more information about the job and kind of organize that information and knowledge into now steps of how she will climb that ladder. So I think her first main goal for that one, or the resolution, would probably be to gather information about the job she wants to go into, and then from there she can plan out more.
So if there are courses she needs to do,
Exactly.
if there are networks she needs to
create,
make,
yes.
to create, I think that's
Solid
it.
enough,
Yeah, that's it. And I feel like we have helped Sophie move from New Year's copy pasting New Year's resolutions to making specific goals that she can be able to, that will enable her to achieve what she needs to achieve at the end of the year. Yeah, thank you guys for helping John and Sophie. And also I've learned a lot from this conversation.
Likewise,
And I think I will be more intentional and as I set goals this year, and I've picked up a few things that I would want to put into practice also.
For sure.
Yeah. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you also for
Thank
having
you.
us.
All right. Yeah.